Well, hello! Today we're going to be talking about Princess Shore Excursions, specifically the excursions that are available to us on our Alaska cruise coming up in 2025. So we have, I think, 8 Alaskan ports, so 8 different port cities that we're going to be visiting in Alaska, and then we have 2 British Columbia ports. Now, we are really close to sailing at this time. We are 4 days away from actually embarking our cruise, so we are really very close. So what that means for us is we can no longer make reservations online before the cruise. We can, however, continue to make reservations once we get to the ship, and the options for that are going to the Shore Excursion desk or making them through the Medallion class app once we get to the ship. So I'm going to walk you through the excursions that are available in each of these port cities because I can still see them all on the Princess website, and I'll walk you through the different shore excursions that are available in these different ports of call for Princess. First up is Ketchikan. On the Ketchikan page we have the time and port. This may differ for different itineraries. You've got some points of interest and a little bit of history about Ketchikan, and then if you keep scrolling you'll find all of the excursions. There are 46 excursions available in Ketchikan. You have a sort feature, so you can sort by recommended, price lowest to highest or highest to lowest, and then by name, A to Z or the opposite. And then we get into the excursions themselves. So we have a little heart feature. If you click that and it turns white, it means you're removing it from your wish list. Or you can click it and it turns blue and that adds it to your wish list. You have the name of the excursion, the reviews, the number of reviews and the number of stars that that excursion has based on those reviews, the duration of the activity, the activity level required for this activity, the price, and then you can click on View Details. And inside View Details, you get the overview of the excursion. You get excursion detail, which gives you things like travel time, the number of steps you may have to take on this excursion, the time at your site, and then you also get more detailed view of customer reviews for this particular excursion. Let's go back to Ketchikan. Now really quickly, I'm going to scroll through and show you everything that's available. So those are the tours available in Ketchikan. I want to make note that prices can fluctuate. Some people will tell you that you always save money booking through a third party. Some people will swear by booking directly through the cruise line. I kind of land somewhere in the middle. I like to book excursions through the cruise line when I'm worried about something happening and either I don't know my way around the port very well because I've never been there, or I don't speak the language, or the port is really far away from this destination city where the tour is going to take place. Let's say we're going to go to Seward and that's where the ship is going to dock, but I'm going to go to Anchorage for an activity. Anchorage is 2 hours away. If I was going to go to Anchorage for the day for an activity, I would probably book an excursion through the cruise line just to make sure that I'm guaranteed to get back on the ship. At the end of the day, there's a long distance between Seward and Anchorage. Anything could happen between here and there, and I just want to make sure that I have that extra guarantee that I'm going to make it back to the ship. I also think cruise lines do a really good job of vetting the tour operators that they sell activities through. So I mean, it gives me a little more peace of mind that I'm not gonna have some, you know, just some random guy in a bus driving me around town. It's gonna be an actual like professional company that knows what they're doing and they take pride in their work. And that is important to me. I want to have a good experience in my port, especially if I'm gonna be spending so much money on a tour. If you look here at the website, it does say the prices increase in 3 days, 12 hours, and 15 minutes. My best guess is that that's when embarkation for this cruise starts. And I didn't know this, but my guess is that excursions increase in price when you embark the ship. It makes sense. I just didn't know that. I also want to mention that prices do fluctuate. They can change a lot, even without notice. So I remember I was looking at excursions back in January, and like literally one day I was looking at excursions, picking out the ones I wanted. I made a spreadsheet with prices. I didn't book anything that day. I talked to the family. The next day I went to go book those same excursions, and some of them were $20 more per person. Some of them were like $50 more per person. No notice. I had no idea. The prices just went up. So if you see something that you're interested in, even if you think you may end up canceling it, go ahead and book it, because canceling Princess Excursions is really easy. We had a couple of excursions booked that we ended up canceling, and then like the way that it worked getting our money back is we booked a separate activity on a different, like ended at a different port, and they ended up using the money that we had paid for the excursions that we canceled to pay for the ones that we were booking after we'd canceled the other ones. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to Juneau. I know I can't show you how we book excursions because it's within that window where we can't book them anymore. I do want to talk about how it works for Princess though, because Princess works a little bit differently. I have sailed a bunch with Disney Cruise Line, and I've never had to pay for an excursion up front. It's always been applied to my onboard account when I go on the excursion. With Princess, when you add the excursion to your cart, you must pay for that excursion before the end of that day, because they clear out your cart, they clear out everyone's cart at midnight. So if you have some excursions in your cart and you're thinking, oh, I really want to do these, go ahead and pay for them. The cancellation policy for Princess, as I've experienced, has been marvelous. I haven't had any problems getting my money back. Of course, when I canceled excursions, it was a couple weeks out. I don't know how it works when you get closer to the cruise or like on the ship. But I will say that booking them was really easy. I didn't have a lot of trouble. I think to use onboard credit though, you have to actually book the excursion on the ship. So maybe that'll be important to you, but I don't have any onboard credit to use, so I don't have a reason to wait to book until we get on the ship. So I wanted to book everything that I could ahead of time before everything sold out. If you don't want to like pay for something right now, go ahead and wish list the activity. You don't have to like add it to your cart, and you don't have to pay for it. Just wish list it so that you're able to find it later. Let's move on to the Skagway activities. moving on to Icy Strait Point. Icy Strait Point is a unique one, mostly because Icy Strait Point was built by an Alaskan Native corporation as a destination specifically built for cruise ships. So it's not a city that people live in, but it is located near Alaska's largest Tlingit village, which I think is kind of fascinating. So Icy Strait Point is specifically built for cruise lines and cruise line passengers, and a lot of the activities that you'll find here are kind of the Alaska flavor of what you might find in, say, a Caribbean port. So it's made for cruise ships and cruise passengers, but with a distinctive Alaskan sway. One of the most interesting things about Icy Strait Point for me is the whale watching that basically guarantee you'll see a whale just because of the location and how close Icy Strait Point is located to one of the best humpback whale feeding grounds. So if you're interested in whale watching, Icy Strait Point might be the place to go. Up next is Seward, Alaska. I want to mention the excursions for Seward did not become available on the website for the longest time. The excursions for Seward were not available on the website until the 5th of April, and there's only 10 of them available. A lot of them are not even in Seward. A lot of them actually take you up the Seward Highway toward Anchorage to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. If this is going to be your one and only trip to Alaska, I would encourage you to go to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, simply because, you know, you get up close and personal with moose and muskox and bears and like caribou or reindeer. But if you're planning on making multiple trips to Alaska, maybe just check out Seward if you've not been to Seward before, because I think Seward is a wonderful place. After Seward is Sitka. Sitka is kind of a popular cruise destination. There are 32 excursions available here, but Sitka kind of has a lot of Russian influence and history, and you'll find that in the excursions here. After Sitka is Haines. Haines is actually physically located really close to Skagway. It takes you a long time to get there by road, but by boat it's actually really very close, as the crow flies, as they might say. There are 27 excursions available in Haines. And for a small town, Haines does have a lot of options for anybody interested in craft brew, craft beer, craft spirits, and they even have a meadery and cidery in town. After we visit Haines is Wrangell, Alaska. Wrangell is another town that is not visited very often by cruise ships, and for Wrangell, the excursions did not populate on the website until the 11th of April, so we've had even less time to look at these. There are 12 excursions available in Wrangell. Wrangell is our last Alaskan port, so next we go to Victoria, British Columbia. Victoria is a massive urban metropolis city. There's lots of things to do. We are fortunate enough to be in port from 12 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., so we have a long day in port, and there are 22 excursions available. Our final port of call for this cruise itinerary is Vancouver. We were in port a long time, from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., but there are only 6 excursions available in Vancouver. We disembark our cruise in Seattle, but it looks like there are even some excursions available in Seattle, 5 of them, on disembarkation day. I want to finish this video by doing a direct comparison. A lot of people will tell you that booking an excursion directly through the cruise line costs you more money. And sometimes I think, yes, it does. Sometimes I think that's because of the insurance that you're going to make it back to the ship. Sometimes I think it's, a little premium for the cruise line. But sometimes I'm willing to pay more for something that I know I'm going to have a guarantee that I'm going to be safe, I'm going to make it back to the ship, and the excursion operator has been fully vetted by the cruise line. So for me personally, sometimes it's worth it to pay a little bit more. Sometimes though, I don't think you actually spend more money on an excursion through the cruise line. Sometimes I think you may spend more on it through a different tour operator. So let's do a direct comparison. We're gonna pick like one of the most popular activities to do. This is in Ketchikan, and it's the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show. On the Princess Cruises website, it is $43. This is per person. A really quick Google search gives you pop-ups for Viator, Alaska Shore Excursions, and then of course the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show website. On Viator, the Lumberjack Show and Axe Throw Challenge is $68 per person. If you look at the calendar, you can see there's a bunch of different dates available, and it starts at $68 per person. It does say it's likely to sell out. They have multiple shows per day, and I've seen on a bunch of YouTube videos that people just walk up and are able to buy tickets the day of. It might depend on how many ships are in port when you're in Ketchikan. I think when we're in Ketchikan, I think there's supposed to be 6 ships in port that day, so it might be really busy. So if it's something you're really passionate about doing, maybe consider purchasing your tickets ahead of time. And if you're thinking it would be nice to do that, but I only want to do it if the weather is nice, if you're not super passionate about making sure you get it done that day, maybe you can wait and see if there's availability that day. Anyway, just as a reminder, it's $43 on the Princess website. Viator, it's $68 per person. Let's look at the Alaska Shore Excursions. Alaska Shore Excursions is $68 per person. Let's look at the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show website. So it looks like there's several options on the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show website. Let's look at just the basic option. So here's where you can see the different show times. And it says on the home website for the excursion, adults starting at $43, children $23, and military and veterans $36. So the cheapest option is to purchase directly through the tour operator. And then surprisingly, Princess is the same price. So $43 at each of these places, and then Viator and the Alaska Shore Excursions website both have it at $68 per person. So I guess my point here is to do your research and don't take anything for granted. Don't just assume it's going to be cheaper through one entity or another. So if it's really important to you to save $25 per person, I know for me, $75, that's 25 3 times, because 3 of us traveling, that would not be insignificant. That's something that would be important for me, to try to save some money. So do your research, look it up, try to figure out where the best option is going to be for you. And if you have any fear, any insecurity about making it back to ship on time, my suggestion would be to book directly through the cruise line. But those are the excursions that are available to us through Princess. I'm not going to tell you what we booked. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. You'll have to watch the vlogs to find out. Those are coming up really, really soon, but you guys will see us in another video really soon. Bye!